make lots of friends. And she also wanted me to one day live on my own. My dad was a Methodist minister. One of our family friends was Margaret McCluskey. Margaret also helped start UMAR and asked me if I wanted to live in a UMAR group home. I had to think about it for a while. Like most people, I was afraid of the idea of leaving home. I didn't think I could actually do it, but I finally decided that it was the right choice. In 1990, I moved into UMAR's first group home for girls on Thermal Road in Charlotte. I was kind of scared at first, but then I got to know my housemates and we became good friends. The staff taught me things that I didn't know how to do before, like how to cook my own meals, how to clean, how to wash clothes, and how to make grocery lists. After I got the hang of living in a group home, I moved into UMAR's Hickory Grove Apartments several years later. There was less staff supervision. I had 2 housemates instead of 5, and I could do more things on my own. That's where I met my best friend, Gwen. Gwen showed me how to ride the city bus so I could get around town, volunteer at the hospital, and get to my job. Little by little, I became more confident in myself. I made friends, and Gwen and I got involved in Special Olympics swimming and tennis. I realized that my big goal and dream was to move into my own place someday. I knew I could do it with a little support. Today, I live in a happy life in my very own apartment at UMAR's McCluskey Apartments in Huntersville. I have my own place with my own kitchen, bathroom, and living room area. I can have friends and family over when I want to. Best of all, my dear friend Gwen lives next door to me in her very own apartment too. Our apartment complex is next to Huntersville United Methodist Church. I want to thank Reverend Good and his wife Ellen and the wonderful church members for being so good to us. They take us places like the grocery store or other places when we need a ride. They invite us to their church services and they make us feel like family. Looking back, I know that I made the right choice by moving out of my mother's house and into my own home. I didn't think the kind of life I have now was possible. Gwen and I never thought that we could actually be on our own. But here we are now, living out our dreams. Our families are very happy and proud of us. But we wouldn't be able to be here today without them and the support we receive from UMAR, our church family, and each of you. Now, my brother Parks Hunter would like to share his side of the story. Thank you.
Wow, that's a tough act to follow. I am very proud to be Kristin Hunter's big brother. I became involved with UMAR kind of in a roundabout way. UMAR has been an incredible blessing and gift to our family for the last 23 years. And when we attended the grand opening of the McCluskey apartment complex, I'd casually mentioned to my mom that I'd really like to get back and get involved in UMAR, especially now that my family moved back to Charlotte a couple years before that. So she introduced me to Ann, and then immediately introduced me to Ginger, and then introduced me to Marilyn. And 4 months later, I'm the keynote speaker at this luncheon. So, if you volunteer at UMAR, they can push your work. To watch Kristin grow has been incredible. When my mom and Kristin moved back to Greensboro after she graduated from high school, my mom quickly realized that she wasn't going to be able to give Kristin the guidance and supervision that she needed to help her facilitate that growth. Mom wanted her to become more independent, to do her share of the chores around the house, to get a job, and so on. And Kristin was quite content being the baby of the family and her little daughter. And so in '89, Margaret McCleskey approached my mom and Kristin and said, hey, we're building a UMAR home for women. Would Kristin like to be one of the 6 girls, one of the 6 women that's going to be in that home? And Kristin, thought about it a lot, like she told you, and then she committed to doing it. And what was also incredible was that 150 people who know our father gave money so that Kristin could be a part of that group. I was going through some old literature and found a letter that had all these donors on it that had given money to make Kristin's place in the home possible. And that was a blessing. When she moved in, she was living with 5 other women, and she had to learn to coexist with these people. And she was given responsibilities, she was given chores, and it wasn't an easy transition. When she would come home to visit Mom, on her way back, there would be a lot of tears for those first couple months because it was change. And the unknown is scary. But with change comes growth. And UMAR is an incredible facilitator of growth, for these 388 beautiful people. It's that growth that allows them to reach their full potential. And she lived in that group home for 15 years. Not just a couple years, as Kristin mentioned. It was 15 years. And then UMAR came to Mom and Kristin and said, hey, we think you have the capability to live in an apartment with 2 other women on your own. We'll still provide, a presence, but it's not going to be like it is right now. And that was a big change. Again, there was the unknown, living on your own. Now you have to not only buy your food, you have to cook it, you have to keep the apartment clean yourself, and there's going to be no one there to tell you to do any of those things. And that's where she met Gwen, and they lived there for 7 years. And again, I saw Kristin take it to another level. She became much more independent, much more confident in her abilities. She could get around this entire town on the bus. I can't even tell you where I could get on the bus stop near my house. And nothing deters her. I have a motto I live by, one of the mottos I live by, but if it's going to be, it's up to me. And Kristin truly embraces that motto. Her social schedule is way more active than mine. And then about a year ago, they came to Kristin again and said, hey, we think you'd be a great candidate for the apartments that we're building up in Huntersville. And after you've lived in an apartment for 7 years and you have your routine down, or 8 years, and they're telling you that they want you to move all the way to Huntersville, well, again, this is a huge change. It's a huge unknown. But Kristin, after some plotting, she and Gwen finally decided, hey, we're going to do this. And I can tell you, it's been incredible. That day of the grand opening, to see the faces of the 9 residents, the 9 new residents, as they showed you their apartment, and to see how proud they were of their apartments, the broad smiles on their faces, it was just, it was so heart-touching, And the collegial environment there is envious. I remember one Sunday I was bringing her a piece of furniture and she wasn't, it was in the afternoon, I told her I was going to be there around 2, and she wasn't in her apartment, so I went knocking on the door of the common area. There's a nice room where they have a big TV where they can all go and they can watch TV together and play games and do whatever. Well, all 9 of them were in there watching the Panthers game. And I was like, this is so cool. So, UMAR has truly been a blessing. I think it's awesome. It guarantees that all these beautiful individuals, individuals that don't have a bad or malicious thought towards anybody, have a chance to really reach their potential. And, it's because of the dedicated staff, the people out here that allow this to happen. These guys are always going to have a fulfilling life, even after their parents have passed away, the ones that are in the UMAR program. They're always going to be given that opportunity to reach their maximum potential. And if you haven't seen some of the artwork in the back, the jewelry that they made, the photography that you can purchase, it's impressive. And I would encourage you to look at it on your way out. And finally, it takes everyone. It takes family members, it takes friends, UMAR staff, volunteers, and supporters, like all of us here today, to ensure that individual success of these 380 UMAR members. God bless all the people that are involved in the UMAR community. UMAR is truly a blessing from God. Thanks be to God. Amen. Now I'd like to introduce Gwen Butler.
My name is Gwen Butler. I am